Honda, Chevy, Beamers, and minivans. Over 600 cars, trucks, SUVs. Are you listening, man? Let Eastern Motors put you in a car today. Let Eastern Motors finance it all the way.
Welcome to another edition of the Saturday Power Hour. We got a lot to get to in a little bit of amount of time. Whole gang is here, so thank you all for joining us on this Saturday evening. I'm Ryan. We got Jake and Safe. And, a lot to get to today. If you were too busy watching the Masters, well, let this be your recap of the day that was in lacrosse.
It's moving month. It's moving day at the Masters. It's moving month in college lacrosse. Gotta get while it's going. There's only 2 more weeks left. It's last 2 weeks of the regular season coming up. So, yeah, this is when it starts to get, knock a few buck time.
But, we say, I don't want to always compress the season, but I told you, as soon as it hits April, everything goes, especially because the Big Ten ends kind of earlier. This is essentially next week's last game of Big Ten regular season, then the postseason, and then everybody else goes to their conference tournaments. Bang, slams it Sunday.
I think the Big Ten should. I hope this is the year that kills the large conference tournament. I think there's some Big Ten teams who should exhibit a trait that has become lost in this country, which is called shame. And just be like, you know what, we're done. We're good. We're thankful for your support, and we'll catch you in 2027.
We tried it.
I'm not going to say who those teams should be. Well, I'll let it play out. But
we need to return to 4-team conference tournaments.
It's a tight 4, maybe even in some conferences a tight 2.
Now we got a bunch that are just we got 5-team tournaments. I mean, we've talked nonstop about the Patriot League and their stuff when the ACC had to play an RPI booster.
Nice.
Just 4, maybe 2. Maybe regular season champ gets the auto bid. I mean, what money are you making off of these conference tournaments? It's not even like college basketball where you're at least getting some people to travel and go to hotels.
I like the conference tournaments, obviously, but there's a good point to be had about like the Big East, for example, playing a conference tournament at minimum in some of these leagues, maybe even in all of them. If you win the regular season, you should just host the conference tournament. Like the Big East playing a conference tournament in Denver last year, when Denver wasn't even qualified for the tournament, and you just had Georgetown versus Villanova in Denver, Colorado, or Georgetown versus Providence in Denver, Colorado for the Big East tournament. Was like, I mean, what are we doing here? I think some of these conferences, it really does need to kind of be like, let's think more strategic. Listen, I love the conference tournaments, so I'm not advocating necessarily for them to go away, but yeah, it's a lot to get to. We got our homies here in the chat. KM, absolutely. Lots of tournament movement. The Harvard train it's not looking good.
Jake and I were waving the caution flags during the middle of the week. Those caution flags are turning into red flags soon.
It's like when they asked for you to like in F1 to like box this lap. And they didn't box this lap. They kept going, and the tires are they're gone. They're gone.
Alan Gustafson pit strategy.
It was like, box this lap. Come on through. We need new tires. I missed the pit box. It's you'll see it in NASCAR. The guy misses the pit box, has to come back through.
Right lane every week.
Back into the pit box. And then it's like, it's a horrible stop. It's a 25-second stop on the Harvard car. We wanted to see UNC. What does UNC look like without a massive Brady Wambach possession advantage? We got a bit of an answer. I'm not saying we got the answer, but we certainly got a bit of an answer. Mark says anybody within one game of first gets to participate. I think that's reasonable. In the Big Ten, though, that'd be basically everybody.
Yeah, that's everybody. Yeah, if Rutgers had won tonight, there would have been a 6-way tie at the top of the Big Ten at 2-2.
We almost went full Patriot League. We really did. But
having to depend on Rutgers against Maryland is not exactly the one to bear that scenario out.
Oh yeah. Man, well, if you're here, Ryan, what should the people here do?
Smash the like button, hit subscribe, turn on the noti bell every Saturday evening. Next week's going to be a lot earlier because Jake and I have been saying this for like the past week. It's like this week was the perfect scheduling all day long, nice and staggered.
Okay.
Next week, everything's pretty much wrapped up by 4. There's a couple Ivy League games at 3:30, Albany, Yale at 4, Syracuse, Colgate at 5. But in reality, all the big ones are done by 4.
I think it's not just next weekend. The next 2 weekends are a little. Like next Saturday, not next. Pardon me. The Saturday.
Oh my God, the 25th is like no games. I know that the Big Ten and Patriot League have their quarterfinals, but there's like
it's not the Big Patriot League quarterfinal. The Patriot League does Friday night for the.
Oh right, that's right. They do midweek the quarterfinals. So you have the Big Ten quarterfinals, but when are the Big Ten quarterfinal games going to be scheduled for?
Do they have it up on the website?
Yeah, I think it's Friday, Sunday.
Okay, so there's nothing on Saturday, and then you have Duke UNC.
No, they're saying when is the Big Ten quarterfinals being played, Safe?
That'll be Friday because isn't the first roundish game earlier in the week, and then the
Big Ten. The Big Ten.
3 and 4 seed, don't they like host like Friday?
They play Saturday. They play Saturday. They play the Saturday before. They play the Saturday before the conference tournament. They've always done it. They'll be played Saturday. What day, what time will they be played?
So while Safe's looking that up, you'll love the log jam that the 25th has. You have Duke UNC and Syracuse Notre Dame both at noon. I'm guessing they want to avoid it, going full FIFA and wanting to avoid any goal differential shenanigans or something. No disgrace in South Bend or something. And then you have Harvard Cornell also at noon. And then that's it. You have Dartmouth Princeton at 4, and that's like the whole schedule.
It is a very stacked Friday night. Maybe
Thursday, Saturday. Sorry, it was No,
we're talking about the quarterfinals, not the semifinals.
Oh, quarterfinals. So game sites. Oh, forgive me. Yeah, 25th.
I don't know what time. Yeah. I don't know what time they'll be at. The Big Ten hasn't announced.
Probably noon.
Yeah, Safe. Did you see the Big Ten? The Big Ten championship game this year is at noon on Saturday.
No,
it is. It's at noon. It's at 12:00 in the afternoon.
That's good. It's Piscataway.
It's going to be at the same time as everything else.
Just everything all at once at the same time.
Imagine you'll have one game at noon and one at 1, and one's on Big Ten Plus.
I would say that the Big Ten quarterfinals will probably be at 12 and 2. That'd probably be my guess. I mean, I'm not like it's usually what it is. They might be at the same time, to be honest with you.
We're probably going to be going at 3 on that Saturday.
Maybe we'll do the Friday. Wait, hang on. Maybe we'll do the Friday. Maybe we'll do like a Friday night show because we have. Let's see what games Friday night there are. Patriot League wraps up. Big East wraps up. There's some decent. Loyola Navy. That's on CBS Sports Network. Georgetown Villanova.
Might be Penn UMass. Lost a lot of that luster today.
Yeah, man. Princeton.
Well, that and UMass lost to Delaware.
Well, UMass isn't good. This whole thing, I feel like I'm being like gaslit. This whole thing, right? Like, look in the poll, and UMass is like ranked every couple. I'm like, what is?
We're running out of teams to backfill.
When did we decide UMass was like? I'm nothing against UMass. I'm just like I feel like I missed this whole.
We got to put somebody 17th through 20th this year. I mean, I think this week is Sienna's time on deck. I mean, Saints have been putting together a real nice story.
I tell you the answer, which you don't want to hear, is that you should just rank like Rutgers because they're a better team than UMass. Like I know you don't like it, but it's like if Rutgers and UMass played, I'll tell you what the result's gonna be.
Not a lot of goals.
Yes, that's for sure. Not a lot of goals.
Thank you, David, with the Q slid. I like this color gray too. I like how the orange jumps out on the sweatshirt too.
Yeah, that's what they decided when they remember when they did those anthracite jerseys.
Oh God!
Like the orange with the gray really pops.
We have a guy named Adam in the chat saying 2 Rutgers scored 2.
I'm pretty sure that's
2 goals.
As
in more than one. I'm trying to play off of it. I know it's our Adam.
Well, it pops up. It says like NQ9. I don't know what's going on with the Adam Nikwa. David
Straight out of
Greenfield.
Massapequa.
David Greenfield L6. I don't know what's going on with the
numbers tonight.
Rutgers scored the first goal of the game and then scored 1 goal after that.
Incredible stuff. All right, let's start off with this week's games. So we'll start off with our number 1 versus number 2 matchup, and Notre Dame in a raucous Arlada Stadium today. Double up UNC with a 10-5 win, and claim and beat a number 1 team in the nation 2 weeks in a row with a. I mean, I've seen Arlada loud. I think that might be even more loud than I've cousin. They brought the marching band this time. It was nuts.
It looked great.
Yeah, it does. I think I saw Terry Foy tweet out. I think he was there. Because they had like a high school thing going on too, like a high school sort of like I think before. He said they announced 5,000, but definitely looked over 5. I mean, it was 12. I didn't see a bunch. I had some of it on when I was in the car, and then on my way back. And then I saw some of it while I was at dinner. But it looked like 12, the dozen rows deep in the grass.
Yeah, I thought they were going to storm the field at the end.
They did. Do you remember the last time that happened? Remember we talked about the Notre Dame UNC, the 2015 game. They did storm the field that day. I remember. That actually happened. They've won 2 national championships now. You can't really storm the field anymore. You guys somewhere to me, but I think the big story is UNC at the faceoff dot. Notre Dame wins 56% of the faceoffs. The possession margin was +2 for Notre Dame. Say if I'm not wrong, that is the first time all season Carolina has had a negative possession differential.
Yeah, I was looking at their Lax reference page. Yeah, pretty much the ball, like they've never been closest they've been to even 0 is just +3.
Yeah, so 5 possessions worse than their worst game this year. They went from +3 to -2, and I don't want to make it all about that. Again, you guys saw more of the game than me. From what I saw, it didn't look like UNC could get to the middle of the field at all. Everything was on the perimeter. And I think this is probably a bit of an issue. Like, I don't know that UNC has a crease presence really. They don't really have a crease guy. It's a lot of it's kind of on the outside. Petro's a great shooter, but he's more of a wing shooter than a dedicated inside presence. It looked to me like UNC just couldn't get to the interior at all. Everything was around everything was on the perimeter. They couldn't really win. Light obviously did a great job on Duffy, and just looked like it was hard. It was hard for UNC. Just like it was hard work the entire day.
Yeah, I think even more so than the face-off deficit was that the offense just couldn't generate anything. The shots on goal they were getting were easy saves for Notre Dame. Weren't getting much power on those shots either. And yeah, I think Notre Dame's defense has suffocated them. That's really what it came down to. I think even more so than the face-offs. Now, obviously, yeah, not winning the faceoffs, not being able to run transition helps, but yeah, that UNC offense look night and day from what we've been accustomed to seeing them the past couple of weeks. We talked about, how great it was they were getting the non-Duffy, non-Petromala secondary scoring the past couple of games. None of that. Duffy and Petromala themselves weren't getting that much in.
Duffy and Petro combined 2 for 15 shooting.
Yeah, so they were shut down as well. Yeah, I would say, Wambach not winning the face-off battles, not good in the first place, but even more so is just that Notre Dame defense has absolutely suffocated that UNC offense.
Also, this is the way they play because Wambach's just springboards that offense, or it's also kind of a backstop to prevent a team from going on the extended runs, like especially in the second quarter, like Notre Dame would score and then win the faceoff, which obviously lose possession, but I think it just kind of throws off all of like North Carolina's like normal way of playing. Like I think they just do kind of feed off a lot of Wambach. It's like said, like definitely we've always said that about TD and Trevor. Really good face-off guys, like an extra defensive unit, and it can like really mask a lot of things and also help juice up your offense. If it's having a bad day, at least we get the possession back. And I think when you lose that, you kind of like you have like air superiority, and all of a sudden lose that as one of your major assets. It's going to have an effect. Yeah. Also, the environment, and not that the North Carolina like got overwhelmed by it, but I think like big crowd. That's almost a quarterfinal-ish crowd. I was looking on the page, Jake, while you were talking about it. There's one link that the live stat. They have like a summary page. It only says 5,000, but maybe that's just the max for a lot of seating.
Terry said he said the people in the press box they were saying like it was easily over 5,000.
Oh yeah, because I think that's probably just the seating capacity. And like anyone coming to the gate, I bet 10 between 10 12,000 people.
So I think this is worth kind of looking at when you look at UNC. This is an offense that does not shoot the ball very well. They're 35th in the country in shooting percentage at 29.5%. And I just mentioned they don't really have a crease guy. I guess the closest thing you could say to them for like an interior presence would be Brevin Wilson. He's not really that, and he's been good. He's scored in all but one game this year, but if you look at their last 5 games, he's got 6 goals on 22 shots. That's 27%. More one soup. Good evening. I look at that midfield, the freshman midfield line of Rayo, Baer, and Merrill. Really good, all talented guys, great athletes. I think they're going to have great careers. Anthony Rayo is shooting 10 of 47, 21%. Luke Baer is shooting 9 of 44, 20%. And Gary Merrill is shooting 7 of 30, 23%. That's just not great numbers. Duffy is shooting 23%. Mason Suchek is shooting 34. There's just not many guys on that offense that shoot the ball well. And I think that's the thing. I guess this is the thing with them is you're right that the issue was more their offense got shut down rather than Wambach not winning the faceoffs. It's like you should wait. Like this wasn't an impossible ask. Like they had the possessions were +2, but I guess it's in the context of how we've been talking about UNC. We've been wanting to see what does it look like when they have to play from behind. What does it look like when they don't just get to go goal, faceoff, goal, faceoff? Don't score a goal or give up another goal. Win the faceoff. What happens when someone changes up the game state on them? They have to play from behind. They don't get to have the ball a lot. And I think, Gil, I do think you need, you definitely need athletes. They just don't give up. You have to be able to, here with them is Notre Dame is never going to, they don't care about the matchups. Like they'll switch everything. They're not going to double team. So you have to be able to win the matchups when you get there. And I think that's a huge part of it. I also just think that you have to be able to, you got to give them different options. You have to make them think. Notre Dame doesn't want to slide. Well, you got to have athletes to make them slide. If they do, you need an interior presence to really be able to punish them. Make them kind of hedge more towards the crease as opposed to just being able to constantly press out. They're so well coached and they're so buttoned up, you got to really have all the pieces to threaten them. And Carolina does have the dodging, but to a degree, I mean, they didn't today, but they're not a great shooting offense, not an interior presence. And talk about their offense. Not their offense is bad, but they were 6th in the country in offensive efficiency. That was largely the last 2 weeks. They were really awesome. Kind of came back to earth today. I just think it's what me and Ryan, when we talk about, it's like UNC is a very good team. If you can put them in, what happens if we take away the ultimate failsafe? Are they as good as they look? And I think the answer is they're probably just kind of like all these other teams. And so,
on the flip side, though, I think Notre Dame's now cemented themselves in one of the teams, I think, in that upper echelon. Back-to-back weeks beating Richmond and UNC. I think you could put them in that national title contender tier and think of it in a safe way.
I think they've always been there.
But I think this cements it.
Yeah, I think the question with them is still the question we've kind of had all. This is 6 games in a row under 30% offensive efficiency. Now, granted, listen, at some point you do have to kind of ask, is this the normal for this year? Is it a defensive year? Is it just the parameters and the way we think about offense probably need to change based on what we're seeing this year? I think this is a more Notre Dame team this is your uncle's kind of Notre Dame team. It's an elite defense with a really good goalie and a kind of workman-like offense that is they'll make some things happen. I thought that they contrary to Notre Dame definitely has an interior presence with Luke Miller. And they've got some kind of, midfielders on the outside, Jeffrey. They got some athletes. I would love to see Notre Dame play Princeton, because I think Notre Dame's defense they're elite. I mean, I don't know if they're Ohio State level good, but other than that, they're probably the second best defense in the country. What happens if Notre Dame gets put in a kind of a shootout? Kind of like Penn State did to them last year, where Penn State just got really rolling on it. Cuse kind of did that a bit to them too. Like, what happens? Notre Dame Cuse. I can't wait to see Notre Dame Cuse. What happens if Cuse can get? Notre Dame has won. Notre Dame hasn't won a game with more than 12 goals since they beat Georgetown, and that was indoors. So outdoors, Notre Dame's winning totals here in the past month are 11, 9, 9, 12, and 10. Can you get them to 13 goals? I think Cuse maybe could do that. I think Princeton is a team that could do that. I think UNC, we figured maybe they were, but I don't know. I think Cuse, on the offensive side of the ball, I think Cuse and Princeton have a gear that is really pretty elite.
Speaking of Cuse, we'll transition to that while we're here in the ACC games. 14-9 win over Virginia today in a rivalry game. So sorry, everyone that was looking for more of the Lars rap lyrics. Might have to wait another week for that. But no, on John Desco Day at the Dome, part of a triple header, started off with Cuse in a quadruple overtime thriller over Notre Dame in the women's game to start off the day. They get a win there. And then Cuse, Virginia got it to about 2 goals at point, 2-goal game at points, but otherwise probably one of the more comfortable Syracuse wins as of late. A little less stressful than the others lately. Yeah, good win for Syracuse. The offense was clicking. We got Joey Spallina 1 point away from the Powell record for career points. And little bit of a snap back to reality for Virginia this week after starting off ACC play 2-0.
Is this legit? UVA had the same national title odds as Cuse this week?
God, I love degenerate lacrosse gamblers.
That's insane. I mean, listen, I love Lars. Listen, I'm on the record as potentially building Lars a statue. But that's kind of nuts.
A lot of people jumped in because I remember 2 weeks ago, I think, it was like 2,300. And so, like, I think the movement this week more than, but yeah, they play great in the Dome, man. Ryan, I think you gotta love it. Like, that's
the rock show.
from the crowd.
If the national championship was at the Dome this year, Syracuse
they win by about 11 goals.
Forget it. Like, they win the title.
Yeah, the pop
and to be fair, I know the narrative about Cuse on the road. They've held their own on the road for the most part.
They have. It's just at home, they are clearly the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Outside of the Dome, they look like the 5th best team in the country, which that's not bad, but it's like, it is so evident this year though in the Dome that they are like it. It's like a built-in 3-goal advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an SEC team going and peak Saban to Bryant Denny.
They're in the Dome. They are electric. I love what we've seen the past couple weeks from Virginia. I love Lars. The Millen brothers have been a great story. I mean, kind of what they've done for Virginia. McCabe Millen did have 4 assists, which is that's good. McCabe Millen shot 1 for 11. He has these games in him where you think he's kind of he's kind of gotten past the sort of shoot Virginia out of it thing. And the sort of like just put his head down and just dodge. And again, he had 4 assists. So it like credit to him. Last year, this game would have been 1 goal, 0 assists, 15 shots. But I do just kind of, 1 for 11, seeing that as a little like Ryan Colsey, true at Sunderland Brendan Millen had 2 goals on 8 shots. Colsey had 2 goals on 7 shots. Sunderland has 2 goals on 8 shots. These aren't great numbers, but he takes 3 more shots than anybody else. That annoys me. But Ryan, you mentioned it on the Power Hour this week. Trusting McCool in goal over Jake Merrick, and Jake Merrick, who has been a great story, it came back to earth hard. Saved 15% today. Whereas McCool saved 59%. So that feels like the difference in this game. 16% save percentage for Jeremy. What's that on?
Yes.
Cuse had 35. Virginia had 11 more shots in this game. So
yeah, and I think Cuse they went back to what works, which is getting behind the cage. They went away from that against UNC last week, and it didn't work, and went back to it this week. And they were discussing on the telecast. Clark was talking about it. That the teams that Virginia was having success against, they weren't necessarily moving the ball behind X. Well, Cuse was doing that, and they were getting their looks. But yeah, great bounce back game from McCool. He made some great saves, shook off last week's performance. And yeah, the offense was humming. They were doing very well with executing their shots this go around as well. So yeah, good performance out of the Orange. Back on track.
Gil says, can we talk about Johnny Mullen? Why is he like not that good anymore? I mean, he's had more kind of down games here. I mean, it's not. He's 53% against Duke, 56% against Georgetown. It's not bad.
Yeah, maybe giving him a few more rests and reps might help, and save him for the higher leverage situations, so he doesn't get a little bit worn out as the game goes on. Maybe
how many?
Because I think that's. Yeah, because I feel like a lot of Cuse's opponents have been using multiple Fogos against Mullen, and I feel like they've been having success with that. So I think maybe keeping him a little bit fresher and putting him on a pitch count might work a little bit better.
Drew Angelo has taken 64 faceoffs this year. Johnny Mullen has taken 277. So 277 plus 64 is that's 81. That's a lot. 80% of the faceoffs is. That's not quite Luke Weirman, who I think took literally every faceoff ever. But 81% is that's a lot. And it's not like Angelo. It's not like Angelo's bad. I mean, he wins over 50%. I think for your backup faceoff guy, that's Yeah, I think workload is big for but Gil's fair. Like he's at 15. He's 15th in the country in adjusted faceoff percentage. I don't think we have the Virginia game in. 57.5% last year. Cuse was 65%. That is a marked difference, 65 to 57. I don't know. Maybe people are a little more used to him. Kind of been figured out a bit. Could be. I mean, listen, these Fogos. We always talk about it. You know, the damage these guys take to their body is insane. So I think Ryan. I think Ryan. I think your point about workload is I think that's certainly well argued. I think in the next, considering what is Cuse really playing for the next couple weeks?
Yeah, Colgate is just going to be a nobody get hurt type of game and give Spallina the record. Then you got Notre Dame, which might be for the 1 seed in the ACC tournament, which is really just what color laundry you're wearing. Seeding.
Yeah, which matters, but
I mean, at this juncture, they should be in pretty good shape for a top 4 seed. It's a matter of getting as high as you can. I don't know if they're going to be able to jump Princeton on the virtue of head-to-head or one of UNC or Notre Dame. So I think they're playing, for 2 tops. But even still, you want to have as much momentum heading into the NCAA tournament as you can. But, next week I think it's a matter of just, again, give Spallina the record. Don't get banged up. Try to push as many goals as you can to make it look good. And then, tool up for the Notre Dame game.
Cuse is going to be seeded no worse than 4th, or no worse. I mean, UNC
it depends. If they lose to Notre Dame in the regular season, they don't win the ACC tournament. I could see both UNC and Notre Dame being above them.
Yeah, so UNC, Notre Dame, Princeton, they'll be 4th at the worst.
Yeah, no one in the Big Ten is going to get up to them. Nobody else in the Ivy is going to get to them unless Cornell goes on an absolute heater.
They have 7 top. They have too many top 20 wins for Richmond to. So like the worst case, they're going to be seeded 4. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Like, that 4-5 game could be maybe. Look, you want to be seeded as high as possible, but I don't think it's not like we're talking about a difference between a home game and a road game or anything like that.
Yeah, the quarterfinal matchups are going to be what makes or breaks a lot of these top 5 teams this year, but you're not going to know that till you know who's in the tournament and where they're sending everyone for travel. So,
yeah, there you go. Shocked if Cuse is below 4. I think Syracuse would beat Towson by in the Dome. We saw that game a couple years ago. It was a fun game, but you'd sweat it a little bit. I mean, you not get a little more nervy. I think these top 4. I think the first round is really. If there's going to be first round upsets, it's going to be 5 to 8. Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
The only issue with Richmond is they're not going to have any other opportunities to boost their RPI. I think they're in solid shape for 5th or 6th seed at worst. If one of these teams in the top 4 go on a losing streak, they could go higher. But if everything holds serve, it's going to be tough to break that ACC and Princeton stretch.
The problem they have is that Carolina has 6 top 20 wins, plus 1 top 5, 2 top 10. Cuse has 7 top 20 wins, 3 top 10. Princeton has 6 top 20 wins, 2 top 5, 3 top 10. The one team with a resume most analogous to Richmond's is Notre Dame, and they lost to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the comparison they would have wanted was Notre Dame. They would have beat them. I just don't see how they can match the win totals of those teams. I don't. I mean, the question for them, they were seeded 7th in the bracketology projections this week. I think they'll move up because Hopkins lost and Harvard lost, so that'll help. Yeah. But like they were seeded 7th and their first round game was against Maryland. Like that's a little I mean, listen. I mean, I'll be. I don't want
to. Not a regular season week. At least,
safe. A Maryland Richmond first round game at Richmond. Maryland is favored by how many goals?
3.5.
Ooh, I think that's a little. I was thinking 1.5. No, Richmond hosts Maryland at home in the first round of the playoffs. Richmond is favored by how many? No, Maryland is favored. Maryland is favored by how many?
I think Maryland would be all right. Let's minus 2.5.
Maryland favorite. It's in Richmond. Maryland favorite.
Because
Maryland would definitely be the favorite.
At Robinson,
yeah, no. But I'm saying in that
scenario,
I would say probably Maryland by a half goal. I'd give them.
I would go Maryland by 1.5. Maryland would be. John Tillman is not. John Tillman would not be an underdog with a week's prep against Richmond. I mean, I'm not saying Richmond wouldn't win the game, but I'm just saying I think that would be that's how people would see that.
It's a good game when they host, but Maryland.
All right, let's
could be the favorite.
Big non-con game with implications brought to you by the fine folks at Corrigan Sports Enterprises. Cornell wins 9-7 over Duke on the island. So Duke still has 0 top 20 win. Well, actually, did any of them move today into a top 20 win?
No, Duke is 16th in RPI, and their best win is over number 22, St. Joseph's.
So, yes, Duke still has 0 top 20 wins after today. Cornell, not a must win, but also
big one.
Don't lose.
It was a big one. Cornell,
it's definitely a don't want to lose one.
Especially I'll put it this way. If Cornell had lost to Duke today, Yale would be ahead of Cornell in the NCAA tournament pecking order.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so not a must win, but it definitely don't want to lose, and they don't lose. And with the way the Ivy League shakes up, which we'll get to in a moment, that's another top 20 win for Cornell. And Cornell's going to have their shot up ahead with Harvard, too. So Cornell... full disclosure, no, I did not spend the $31.50 to go to the game today. Sorry. Nor did I spend $10 for the stream when we had all these other games on broadcast TV. I had, a game on BTN, 2 on ESPN, on the ESPN family networks. They even had the Princeton Penn game on SNY. I had Army Navy on CBS Sports Network. Sorry, I got all these games for free with my cable package. Sorry.
No, you should never give them. I mean, let me stop. I think the Duke conversation is
Can I throw it in the loop quote, Jake, for you?
Always safe.
From the great Simon Foster. Duke, I don't want to read you the riot act here, but I am going to read you some extracts from the riot act. It's play-in game the rest of the way. I wasn't joking. I wasn't joking at the beginning of the season when I was like, I don't think I was like, what's the hottest take? I was like, Duke not making the tournament just because of the wire acts that this gloss now plays. And you can argue this was a play-in game as well. They're pretty much, I think, playing the rest of the way.
The next 2 games were more important anyway. The AC because they probably need. Penn State losing another one is Penn State lost the 3rd bad loss, so we're getting into unprecedented territory here.
We're going to talk about 2026 like we talked about 2022.
We might be. I think Duke needed at least 2, maybe even 3, and to get 3, they have to. Maybe it's 2 now, but if Duke splits the next 2 and misses the AC tournament, they're done. It's over.
They're done. So
it's over. It's literally they're forget about it. They're 16th in RPI and they beat nobody. 1 win is not gonna cut it. They have to win the next 2 games. I am looking at Duke's numbers. Max Sloat and Ben Johnston shot 4 of 25. They took 25 shots themselves. Everybody else on Duke's team took 18 shots.
Even Petro and Duffy are like, hey, come on, guys. You gotta pass the rock.
I mean, maybe Duke really is building for the. I guess if you're Duke and you're building for the future, I'm not sure I want the 2 upperclassmen taking 25 shots in a 9-7 loss.
Let the young boys eat. Yeah.
Brady Scaletti scored 2 goals on 3 shots. Get him the ball. Wow. Yeah. Cornell defense this year has kind of been more of the story, even without Jordan Stevens. We'll see if maybe that can. The offense is. I feel like the Cornell offense should be better. They've had injuries, but I mean, you still got Goldstein. You still got
Goldstein, yeah.
you got Nicholas Nerdy. I mean, again, guys have been in and out of the lineup. I don't know. I feel like they're very up and down team. Cornell. Can't feel like I can really get a read on them, but a big win today. So Notre Dame has 2 ACC wins. Virginia has 2 ACC wins.
UNC has 1, and Cuse has 2.
So Duke has to win both, and so if UNC, how many ACC wins does UNC have?
1. They've only played 2 ACC games so far.
So I think Duke would need to feel safest. I think they want UNC to lose to Virginia, UNC to lose to Duke. Then Duke wins there too. That gets Duke in ahead of UNC. Otherwise, I'm not sure that the numbers are gonna. I mean, maybe there'd be a tiebreaker scenario somewhere. I don't know.
I guess if Notre Dame loses out, they would hold a tiebreaker over Notre Dame.
I mean, it'd be Notre Dame would have 2, Duke would have 2, but then who else might North Carolina would have 2. Because UNC would lose to Duke, they beat Virginia, they'd have 2. Notre Dame lose out, they'd have 2. So I think the path of least resistance is UNC loses next week and Duke wins their next 2, and one of them's over UNC. That's the most straightforward path that I can. At least that's the easiest path to, not have to do tons of RPI tiebreaker permutations.
So that was that.
5-way tie 2-2. Here's a question, I guess. If Duke loses out, did the schedule matter?
Yes, because they had nothing in non-con.
Sure, I agree, but even if how much would they have had to do in non-con to get in if they don't win any ACC games or Cornell?
I think because if it comes down to it, Penn State Duke. Yeah. I think the committee's going to give it to Penn State because they're going to be like, yeah, you lost these.
I mean, if it comes down to Penn State and Duke, yes, I think they have to take Penn State. But like that's
if it comes down to Penn State and Duke, it's time to trim the tournament down.
And then it really does come to schedule because strength of schedule at Penn State, at least last reference is 6. Duke's 25th. So it was almost inverse. Penn State lost the games they shouldn't have lost.
Yes. They've won all the games they shouldn't have won.
Exactly, but those wins gave it that insurance to be if Princeton ends up being the number 1 seed, they'd be like, we beat the number 1.
I think they've used up all that insurance.
When it comes down to it,
tell me how many top 20. No, you're good. Sorry, I'm sorry. Tell me how many top 20 wins Duke had in 2022, because we are in a Duke 22 is the other three bad loss team. They were 7th in RPI, the highest ranked RPI team to ever miss the tournament. They had 3 bad losses. Penn State has 3 top 10 wins and 3 bad losses. This is unprecedented.
Okay, so I guess we're going to Big Ten games now.
Yeah, I guess. Or no, I mean we can go stay Ivy. We can stay in the Ivy, but
because I feel like we've been nipping at the butt of Big Ten talk for a while.
High Point had 2 really quality wins and those were they were great wins. They beat Duke and UVA. Penn State has beaten number 4 Princeton, number 9 Maryland, number 10 Cornell, number 14 Yale, and number 15 Ohio State. And they have also lost to number 33 Michigan, number 38 Villanova, and number 26 Navy. And none of those teams are getting the top 20.
Yeah, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and talk Big Ten because Penn
State is amazing. It's 5-2 against top 20 RPI with a number 4 strength of schedule and 1-3 versus 21 plus.
So today Penn State plays Michigan. It looks like they have it pretty nicely. Well, no, they were trailing 5-4 heading into the 4th. But Penn State grabs the lead, and then they subsequently blow it, and Michigan wins. This is a Michigan team that is 5-7. They're on a 2-game winning streak, for what it's worth, but it's another bad loss for Penn State. What the hell is this Penn State team? And this is back-to-back weeks that Penn State had the game pretty much won, and then they blew it.
I don't know if I'd say that. I don't know if I'd say
Hopkins
that.
is a good team, whereas Michigan's not.
They were down 5-2 at halftime.
Yeah,
they were never really playing well.
But they took the lead in the fourth quarter and looked like they had all the momentum in the fourth.
I mean, I guess, yeah. I don't know. You can be as high ceiling as you want. At the end of the day, you have to actually get in the NCAA tournament. That's a big thing. And then, at some point, I mean, it's the thing with them is it's not just the theoretical. We did see them beat Princeton. We saw them beat Maryland. We saw them blow out Cornell. We saw them blow out Yale. We saw them blow out Ohio State. So it's not just theoretical with them. But at this point, it's like, I'm not going to say they're done because I don't. I mean, they beat all the teams on the bubble. This is what's making this unprecedented. Who's on the bubble? Maryland, Cornell, Yale, Ohio State. Penn State beat all of them. But they have 3 bad losses, which again, there's never been a team who's made the NCAA tournament with 3 bad losses. Some teams have made it with 2. Nobody's ever made it with 3. I don't know what you do with this Penn State team. I mean,
26 turnovers.
That's been the problem all year. They turned the ball over. They turned the ball over more than Ohio State. I don't know what you do with this team. I think if they beat Rutgers next week, they'd be 7-5. And then they win their first round. If they get to 8 wins, I think they might be in. Just because I wonder if you're like, if
Big Ten
it's just
tournament championship. They're definitely in. I think semifinal, depending on who they lost to.
What if they beat Rutgers, win their quarterfinal, and lose the semifinal? They're 8-6.
At that rate, I'm becoming the biggest Richmond Spider fan and hoping they win the A-10.
I mean,
definitely.
So who's not going to be in the conversation with them? The 4 ACC teams won't be in the conversation. Princeton won't be in the conversation. I mean, after that, like,
if Harvard
we'll get to in a moment, but you think Maryland's made themselves above the fray now that they're at 3 Big Ten wins, right? They're pretty safely in. You would think the safest out of the Big Ten.
Maryland, listen. Let's listen. I don't think it's going to make anybody on here upset. I think our chat's pretty knowledgeable about this stuff. A 7-win Maryland team is going to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
And we said at the beginning of the year that a 7-win Maryland team could make the tournament.
Yeah, we said 7-win Maryland. Yeah, as long as Maryland and Syracuse were both at 500, they're getting in. And Princeton, if they were like 2 games above 500, would be in.
If Maryland beats Hopkins next week, they're in the tournament. There you go. They'll be the Big Ten regular season, which isn't a criteria, but Maryland is 9th in RPI. No, not because of their name, because they're 9th in RPI at 6-4. They have a top 10 win over Virginia. They have 2 initial top 20 wins. Rutgers is at 20, but Loyola is at 21. So that would just be a positive swap. And listen, on the opposite side of Penn State, they didn't screw up. They lost to number 2 Notre Dame, number 3 Syracuse, number 4 Princeton, and Penn State. That schedule is just. Is Maryland will be the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament regardless of the Hopkins result? I guess even with the tie, I don't know what the tiebreaker is going to be so crazy. I guess it could be. Because, if Penn State wins and Maryland loses to Hopkins, there's because it guaranteed. If Maryland loses, it's guaranteed to be a 4-way tie at 3-2. No matter what, because Penn State would Rutgers. No, Rutgers is 1-3, right? Rutgers win is
Yeah,
only
Rutgers is the one team at one loss.
So, but if Penn State wins and they have 3, and Maryland loses to Hopkins, and then whoever wins the Michigan-Ohio State game has 3 wins. So there's absolutely a chance for a 4-way tie at 3-2. I guess Maryland would come out ahead. I'm not going to pretend to. Maryland would get in at someone's. Okay, so let's say Maryland. So anyway, if it's Hopkins at 3-2, Penn State at 3-2, Maryland at 3-2, and Ohio State, I don't know what's what's possible. Hopkins would be Hopkins might, because you would take the record within that group, and Hopkins lost to Rutgers. So Hopkins lost to Rutgers would actually help them here.
So anyway, just for context things. So in addition to Penn State mucking it up again, Maryland beats Rutgers 12-2. Wasn't even blood. And welcome back, Ohio State. I'm not going to play the full thing, don't worry, but...
This kitchen is so hard to clean. If only there was an easier way.
Ohio State beats...
That's exactly how I feel when I watch Ohio State games.
Ohio State beats Johns Hopkins 6-7. I just... Quintessential Ohio State lacrosse, but this time they win. They get back in the winning direction, but my God, is that a chore to watch.
These games are not real, dude. Like, they're just not, they're fake. Like, they're not, I don't have any other context for Ohio State's last. Let's not throw out the Penn State game, which, they lost to Notre Dame by 9-8. They beat Denver 6-4, Rutgers 6-5. Lost to Maryland 8-7, and beat Hopkins 7-6.
They're reliable.
Yes, sure,
yeah,
sure.
You can set your watch to them.
You really can't, because they end in 2 hours. Look at
it doesn't feel like it. It really is. It's like
but it doesn't feel like it.
It does. It is Interstellar. We are on the water planet.
Interstellar time dilation. I come out with like a great. Somebody said it on the. Someone was like, "What's the funniest thing the Artemis astronauts could have done after they had splashdown?" It's like come out with like fake gray beards.
Exactly like that scene. Yeah,
that's how I feel.
You walk out of the door after a Ohio State game, and you see your friends. They're like, "It's been 43 years."
I've never seen anything like this Ohio State team. We do it every week. Ohio State has the best defense in the country. I think we all agree on that. Like statistically, they do, but I think they have to have it. Notre Dame's great. Ohio State does this to everybody. Everybody. And the thing with them is there is no way to beat that defense if you don't have a behind the goal presence. And there's not really a lot of teams that have a behind the goal presence this year, are there?
It's hard to beat a team that doesn't care about scoring goals either. Their goal is to make sure you don't score. It's just to ruin your day, and it's like
the Watchmen scene. You think you're locked in here with me?
I was thinking about Ethan Hawke in Gattaca, where his brother's like, "How did you beat me?" He's like, "Well, I didn't save anything for the swim back." Ohio State doesn't save anything for the offense. It's just to make sure you don't. Big Nick would totally be fine with a 1-0 game. Like he'd be like, it's not a problem with it. But yeah, they're going to drag you to hell and just going to see if you like it. Luckily, I mean, for them, Chauvette, had a pretty decent look of, Caleb's just an absolute, I don't know where we're going to rank him at the all-time.
Let's do it. This is, I think this is great. How many goalies in your time watching college lacrosse would you take over Fayak?
I mean, personally, I love Jesse. Schwarzer gave me 2 times. But I'm consistent every week. I'm thinking Enneman is at that level.
I think I might take Fayak.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Enneman was great, but Fayak is just okay. I'll throw some names out here. Let's do it this way. Let's go back to. We'll start with We'll build up to the big one. All right. Caleb Fayak or Owen McElroy of Georgetown?
Fayak.
Okay, Caleb.
Caleb Fayak or Liam Enneman.
That's the one.
Ooh.
Oh, well, damn. I was going to keep going. All right, I'll come back.
Oh, that's what I was going. I thought you'd be behind it. Yeah.
No, I'm going all the way. Caleb Fyock or let me think of some other ones. Here, let me just go through the. I should just pull up the.
I was going to say
goalie
Galloway.
Okay, Caleb Fyock or John Galloway.
That's a tough one though. Galloway was more clutch, but I think in terms of body of work, Caleb might just be just ahead.
Yeah, I didn't watch Galloway as much, so it would be unfair to him. But yeah, I'm just going to go Caleb.
So this
Caleb Fyock or Logan McNaney.
Because Big Max is a big time player, you know.
Yeah, so
but
Galloway and McNaney are like in their own championship goalie like tier. Those guys,
clutch time.
Galloway or Scotty Rogers, Notre Dame.
Galloway.
No, or Fyock or Scotty Rogers.
Oh, Fyock or Scotty Rogers. Oh. Am I going to lose my being biased towards Levittown-born players if I go against Scotty Rogers?
It just makes you It makes you a man of integrity.
I will say, remember earlier in the year when I said with how Ryan Croddick was doing with Princeton, if like this is a year where it's like the Connor Hellebuck winning the Hart, where you give the bold task of giving the Twarton to a goalie. If Ohio State gets to the quarterfinal or Memorial Day weekend, do you entertain that with Fryer?
Yes, absolutely. How many players in the country are more integral to their team than he is?
it's just kind of a shame that like how last season short circuited in the first round, because like if he had just like I thought, you know, Ohio State doing so well, like I think he would be able to like really go toe to toe with some of the bigger names because of like postseason play. But I think Ryan, you nailed it. If he can drag this team to the quarterfinals, or maybe better, like I think you really start putting him in the super upper echelon.
I'll give you the one. I'll give you the ones I can't put him above. I can't put him above Tillman. That's just Tillman Johnson was just, I mean, a class of his own. I can't. Scotty Rogers hard. Scotty Rogers carried. I think Fyock has to get far because Scotty Rogers basically did what Fyock is trying to do. He carried Notre Dame to the national championship game. Can I put him above John Kemp? Like, this is a good run. John Kemp, Austin Kaut, Nico Amato, Kyle Bernlohr. Yeah, I think I'd probably take him above all those guys. And those are some really freaking good goalies. Dylan Ward at Bellarmine, I think I'd probably. I think
Dylan Ward, extremely underrated guy. He was so good for Bellarmine. Turned out to have a great pro career afterwards too.
I think I could take him over. Like Entenmann was incredible. Entenmann played on some great teams. I mean, Fyock is just the thing with Fyock is I've never seen a goalie get in guys' heads the way he does. It's almost like he's like a boxer. Like he gives up goals early. Where you're like, I wonder if Fyock's not on today. And it almost feels like a boxer who like gives you the first 2 rounds to try to like lull you in. And then he just saves everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he saves them to where you start taking bad shots you see guys grip their sticks and like hesitate to shoot the ball with him in a way that is just, you know.
I guess the historical comparisons, like, you know, the safes era would be, you know, Jesse Schwartzman or Tierney, maybe.
I mean, Entenmann's kind of a good one in terms of the size. Scotty Rogers was a smaller guy, but that's kind of like do you know another good one? Kind of Jack Kelly at Brown.
Mm-hmm.
For that Brown team, the largest Final Four Brown team. Listen, obviously, he's not going to be in John Galloway or those Entenmann, McNaney, Tillman's class if he doesn't go in the tournament. But the point is, Ohio State is 47th in the country in offensive efficiency, and they could, like, Gil says Jesse Schwartzman. Yeah, that's good. Ohio State has a chance because if Ohio State didn't have Caleb Fyock, this team is nowhere. Like, they're not. That's what Safe was saying. They're not even in the conversation.
All right, so that's the wacky world of the Big Ten.
Hey, hold up.
Whoop.
We didn't talk Terps yet.
They won 12-2.
Listen. Hey, hang on now. I had to sit up here many times this year and have you ask me to explain why Maryland was sucked. Give me like 2 minutes at least.
Okay.
After they won by 10 goals. Listen, Rutgers is a very flawed team. There's no question. They probably have the worst defense in the Big Ten, which is not a good thing to have in the Big Ten. 100%. It's like Princeton scored 20 goals against Rutgers this year, so we know the context, all that. Rutgers scored 6 goals against Ohio, 6 goals against Ohio State, 7 goals against Hopkins, whatever. I get all of it for sure. It's if we agree on the consensus that this is a wide open season, and that maybe everybody sucks, or maybe nobody's really great. All completely fair things. Let's put it this way: how many teams do you feel great about putting your money on come the tournament? Let's say past the first round. Once we get quarterfinals on, how many teams do you feel great about putting your money on?
This juncture, 2.
Okay, 2.
Princeton and Notre Dame.
So
if you don't feel great about putting your money on more than 2 teams, is there anything in the last 15 years in this sport that you feel better about putting your money on than John Tillman with a week of prep?
If John Tillman and the Maryland Terrapins are a 6 seed or higher.
Well, Gil says this feels just like 24. They were seeded 7th. I'll put it out there. I don't care what they're seeded. If they get in and they are if they are seeded 1 through, I'll go maybe 1 through 8. If they're seeded, they get in. I'm going to pick them to make the Final Four. I'm not saying anything past that. I'm just telling you I'm going to do it right now. That's my 2 minutes.
Okay. Let's move on to the Ivy League then, because
in fact, screw it. I'll put it out there. They're going to make the Final Four. There you go.
I was going to say this would be Tillman's not magnum opus, but that would drive people. It would drive people insane. If this Terps team makes Memorial Day Monday, it would
I think they have to win it. They have to circle all the way back and win it.
It would, yeah. Lars. It should be Lars and Tillman. If it's a Lars Tillman championship,
if it's a Virginia Maryland national title,
the Sabre would be in shambles. A lot of people across their Twitter would, have to delete their tweets.
They counted us out. They said
I think the Virginia portion would be more annoying than the Maryland portion.
That would be the symmetry. That game, and then they play again in the championship.
The prophecy goes through.
Another multi-overtime game. Oh my God! I needed this. It feels like the Truman Show when we're all
heading into the season was preseason number 1. Virginia coming out of nowhere and then getting themselves into a national title game would be
you'd have to do what I did. You just have to call Lars. You just have to call Lars your daddy. You just got to do it.
This would be like an Ed Harris. I'm just thinking of the Truman Show. That would be the perfect ending to the season. Maryland
to really piss people off, they have to win it, because if they just get to Memorial Day, just be like, oh, it's just Maryland. They got to Memorial Day and lost. To really cement it, they have to win it. Because I can't listen. I can't. Yes, I'm not gonna. I'm not acting like they're an underdog, but I do think that they can still make the Final Four. This team was, I did pick them to win the national championship. They were preseason number 1. I can't be like them just getting to the Final Four is more than meeting expectations. That was the expectation. But to maximize piss people off, it would have to be, they have to win it. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I think that the signs are there that they are, maybe starting to, I'm not going to say put it together. They're trending is what else. I think that they are trending. And if they get in, basically I just can't, after 24, I spent the whole week of 24, that first one being all right, they're going to beat Princeton because they always beat Princeton. They're going to play Duke. I really think they can beat Duke, but I didn't pull the trigger on it. It's I got to pull the trigger now. I got to go in. basically, I'm on the when we do the first round preview, I'm gonna give safe the George Clooney to Brad Pitt Ocean's 11. But sometimes you win the house.
Did I oversell it? No. It's good. It's good.
Sometimes you flip it.
All right, so on to the Ivy League because, as we were saying, Jake and I were sounding the alarm bells on Harvard the past 2 weeks because they weren't looking themselves. Well, now wee woo. Yale 15, Harvard 9. And Yale is in full control that whole game.
Is Yale back?
It's kind of said like, the arc between Darling to Target is like really short, very short in lacrosse. And
it's called the Georgetown Hoyas Award.
It really just seems like, oh, we love this. And then now it's like, it's when this season is trying to knock that out. And like, that's kind of what Harvard kind of feels like, every week now, especially, we had a high RPI, top 5C. Some people have like, really high, justifiably, they were playing well and undefeated. And then, it just gets tougher down the stretch. And like this is the ultimate rivalry game for these, for Ivy League. So I was definitely surprised I thought if they were going to win, I thought the way like Yale beat Cornell, tame them, kind of keep it to single digits, or 10-11 or 10-9. This was definitely kind of shocking a little bit, both in like how well Yale's defense played to keep a really the most potent offense in college lacrosse, to pedestrian almost Ohio State numbers, and then on their own end, go back to what Yale did have. Yale always had hitters that even though the defense wasn't at an elite level, they could, put the ball in the basket, or, in the net. And it was kind of seeing like maybe, you're talking about trending, like it's kind of like maybe trajectory, like kind of feeling Bulldogs have a really good, trajectory for they're sitting pretty with, this victory and the Cornell win. If they can get into the Ivy League tournament, make some noise, win the tournament, there's a couple more. I don't know,
I'm fully agree with you. No, I remember we talked to Yale in the preseason, and I mentioned Yale was like a team to watch. I thought they would be better, and they certainly are. My thing was I wondered how good the offense, because I knew the defense was going to be better. They made changes in the staff. I like what they did. That was kind of the talk of the fall, their defense is going to be better. I wondered what could the offense do, losing the talent they did. Here's the kicker. Their offense is up to 12th in the country in offensive efficiency. If they're they beat Cornell with 13 goals, they scored 15 today. If this offense is going to play like this, this team can absolutely, I think they probably would make the tournament. What is the Ivy
double digits against Princeton too?
They could have won that game.
Yeah.
Certainly they had their chances. What is the Ivy picture now?
So your Ivy League is now Cornell, Harvard, and Princeton have a 3-way tie at 3-1. Yale is at 3-2. I believe they are the designated survivor next week. Yep, they got Hofstra and Albany next week, so Yale is the designated survivor next week. And Brown is at 1-3. Harvard, Dartmouth at 0-4. Penn at 2-3. So Yale is at 3-2. Penn does hold the head-to-head tie break.
But Penn is 2-3.
Yeah, but Penn is 2-3. We'll get to Penn in a second.
Who does Yale have?
Yale has Brown left.
So Yale's going to be Brown. They're going to get to 4-2. So Penn is out. No, well, hang on. Yeah, Penn's out. So the top 4 is going to be in some order. It's going to be Harvard.
Because Penn has lost to Harvard, Cornell, and Princeton.
So Penn is done, unless Yale's not going to lose to Brown. I don't think. I think Yale's going to be Brown. So the top 4 in some order is going to be Harvard, Princeton, Cornell, and Yale. Yale has Brown left, and Yale doesn't have any other. Here is my worry for Yale with regard to the tournament. Yale's wins are over Harvard and Cornell. If we submit that Harvard is starting to take on water, and we appreciate all the shout outs on the pod that we called it. If we submit that Harvard is starting to take on water,
Yeah, and for full extent, I know Mark, did say that. Yes, I was high on Harvard a couple weeks ago, but started to see the warning signs of how they were doing in early Ivy League play, and it's in the pod this week. We realized things are getting a little shaky, and they still got Princeton and Cornell left.
I think you should have stuck with your guns, because you actually you made the perfect loop back around. Because originally you claimed that Harvard beating Cuse was just Army beating Cuse, and it was just so you had it to begin with, and then you wavered. You should just stuck with it. You just circle back around. You covered all your bases.
Yeah, I guess I did.
I just saw a 20 number momentarily on the live viewers, which is awesome. So if you are one of those, please smash the like button.
Yes.
My worry with Yale, I guess, tournament wise, is like, what if Harvard and Cornell fall out of the top 10, and then they don't kind of have those sort of big kind of like, they'll have wins, but what if they don't have, like, right now those are their wins, is Harvard and Cornell. What if those wins kind of, though I guess one of them is probably going to finish top 10 because they play each other. So in that sense, they're probably fine. Mark says if they win the Ivy League semifinal, they dance.
I think those four, whoever's definitely in championship games getting in.
They're probably gonna take Harvard's spot, right?
Yeah, because an Ivy League semifinal win would be Cornell or Princeton.
That's it. Yeah.
Or it would be a play-in type of game against Harvard. So either you're racking up a big win with Cornell or Princeton, or you've got a second head-to-head against Harvard.
Yeah, I think if they win their Ivy League semifinal, I think that sounds about right. They'll be in the tournament. Yeah, I mean, when is the Princeton, Cornell, Yale all be in the mix? That's what we were asking for. Is the kind of big three hitters from the Ivy to be in the mix, and certainly possible.
Yeah, so the other big Ivy game, by the way, Brown comeback victory in overtime against Dartmouth. So Princeton Penn, I was looking at the scoreboard in the second quarter, and it was 2-goal Princeton lead. I'm like, all right, this is kind of getting my point. Princeton got off to a fast start, but then they have these stretches which make you give a quick pause onto, are they the runaway best all-around team? Because they had these stretches where they let other teams get into it. From that point forward, they allowed one more goal the whole rest of the game, or 2 goals the whole rest of the game, and won 20-8.
I watched this game. I had this game on with go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So it was 8-6 at halftime. And again, Princeton had a 4-1 start, and I think, they're kind of letting Penn creep back into this. Is the only thing that's making me take a little bit of pause with Princeton. Then Princeton just mashed the accelerator and let Penn way behind. They went on I believe they scored the first 12 goals of the second half.
Princeton scored 4 goals in the first quarter, 4 goals in the second quarter, 4 goals in the third quarter, and for good measure, they scored 8 goals in the fourth quarter.
This is the killer. Yeah, this is the
when
killer
this team
status.
hums. In a year without a great, this is the year without a great offense. They are the offense. This is their sort of superpower, is that they just fire, that they can fire the Death Star at you, and nobody has this gear offense. Okay, Cuse does. I think Cuse has this gear offensively too. I'm not sure that. I don't know if it's this gear, and do they have the same degree outside as they do in the dome? I mean, Princeton has a gear offensively that is just. They scored 20 against Brown, 20 here. They've scored 19 or more in their last 4 games. They scored 20 against. They've hit 20 3 times this year, and there are not a lot of teams who are hitting, these sorts of numbers.
And their defense is shored up. I know against Lehigh in Vermont, but they haven't allowed double digits since the Brown game, which there's moments.
To your point, there's moments with the defense where I watch them and I'm like, I think you have to attack them in space. Their shorties are really good athletes. I think they're less good in put them in space and kind of make them have to, like, if you just try and out physical them, you're not going to do it. But if you kind of put them in space and make them have to think a little bit, do I hedge here? Do I slide here? Try and take them behind the net. This again gets to, you need to have a really good behind the net presence, which does appear to be lacking in college lacrosse in 2026. Take them behind the net, put them in situations where they have to think and make some decisions. And I think that's where you can maybe get them. There's moments with them defensively, yeah, but we said it on the pod, dude. Like, it feels like everyone's just forgotten. This team was ranked 5th last week in the country. They were ranked 5th, and they had beaten the 2nd and 3rd ranked teams. And like, I'll be full of. I think Notre Dame is obviously very good. I will rank Princeton number 1 this week. I like Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame's list of wins prior to this week compared to Princeton's was not comparable. Notre Dame's best win prior to this week was Maryland. And Princeton's best wins were Syracuse and North Carolina. Like, and they beat them in the same weekend. Listen, I'm not calling them out by name, but it is evident that a lot of people in the lacrosse media space don't watch Ivy League lacrosse because their games aren't on linear television, which one is really stupid because
they've been given Richmond credit, and rightfully so, but they've been.
Yes, but it's more stupid because I literally watched the Princeton game on my television today. Like, oh, it's on ESPN and not ESPN Plus instead of ESPNU. You can get ESPN Plus on your TV, bro. It's 2026. But I mean, listen, I know this for a fact because there are color commentators in the sport on major networks who in the past have openly confessed to not watching Ivy League games, which still blows my mind. But like, I love Quint. And Quint did his pod with Quint and Terry ran it back a couple weeks ago, and it was a really good pod. I really enjoyed it. Those guys are great together. But Quint was kind of like, he's like, Terry, Princeton's a national title contender, and it's like, yeah, dude. I mean, they're kind of a national title contender going into the season. I mean, it was just a bit. It was just like, heading
into the year, we were talking all about the big 3. I know Maryland and Syracuse were 2 of them, but we were mentioning Princeton as one of the 3 main title contenders heading into the year. We've only been saying it since last May.
Like, I don't know. Like, it kind of blows my mind the way, because
like,
and it's
also
like
they were the number 3 seed last year and graduated 1 guy.
Yeah, you would figure after a year in which Cornell won the national championship, and it took everyone like 6 weeks to be like, is Cornell really that good? Yeah, it turns out they were. Because nobody watched them. You'd think you'd watch the Ivy League, or you could, I don't know, actually just put those games on television. It's not as if ESPN can't put Ivy League games on TV, but I digress. Princeton's very good, folks. They are one of, at worst, they're one of the 3 best teams in the country. I happen to think they're probably the best team in the country, but at worst, they're one of 3 of them.
Quinn saw it on Newsweek, and now knows that it has to be true.
Honey, are you seeing this? Princeton beats Syracuse and North Carolina.
Tigers coached by Bill Tierney.
Tierney back.
Yes, this is true. The Ivy League does great. Princeton didn't have the usual 2 guys this week.
They had the NBC Sports Philly production, I think, this week, because SNY had the game too.
And the guys who did the game, Ryan Ambler, old Princeton Tiger, was one of them. I think color code's name was Joey. They did a good job. I love the usual 2 guys who do the Princeton games. They do an excellent job. Brown's announcers is really fun.
They get the back. Yeah, like Harvard gets the backing in Nesson quite a bit as well. They get the Nesson production crews.
I think Princeton's defense. Pardon me. I think the Princeton defense we've seen this year is good enough to win the national championship. Yes, I do sometimes worry, to what Ryan was going to mention. There's times where it feels like the old defense comes out a little bit, and I think their defense. I don't think their defense has been bad necessarily. They were bad in the Cuse game last year. But I think more it was they just weren't playing cohesively front to back. They would the offense they'd push too much in transition, leave the defense out to dry, things like that. I think it's been much better this year. And again, like a lot of teams are going to try to win a national title with their defense. Notre Dame's going to try to win the title with their defense. I think Richmond to some degree is kind of a defensive minded team. Certainly if Maryland gets in there, they're going to win defense. UNC isn't going to win it with their defense, but it's going to be with the face-offs of Wambach and kind of thing. Princeton's going to try to win the title with their offense, and I think they can do it. And it's going to be fun to watch.
All right. Other things of note. Quick Patriot League check because we had Army-Navy today, and Army with an emphatic win in West Point today. A 14-9 win over Navy, and it was not as close as that score suggested. Navy got a couple goals there at the end. But otherwise, Army in full control of that one. So,
what was the final crowd number?
Final crowd number. Let me see if we got a number on that. I'm going to try to see. 15,156, which would be the largest crowd of the season, I believe, in NCAA men's lacrosse.
It is, and the largest crowd in the history of Mikey Stadium.
And remember, Mikey Stadium's still under half of it's still under construction.
That crowd looks incredible. Basically, the entire press box side is completely, that's the only place they don't have seats on the far end, do they now?
Yeah, no, the far end's still under construction.
Yeah, basically everywhere where they had seats, they filled them up. Unbelievable crowd. Patriot League is Loyola's at 5-1 in the Patriot League. Hounds have Army, I think, and Navy to finish. Probably Army and Loyola to decide who gets. I mean, BU's still hanging in there. They're at 4-2. So Colgate has gone from 0-3 to 4-3 in 4 weeks.
The Raider.
Yeah, BU, by the way, beat Bucknell 13-12 in overtime.
If BU had lost that game, Bucknell would be ahead of BU in the standings. I mean, you've got one team at 5-1, 2 teams at 4-2, 1 team at 4-3, 1 team at 3-3, 1 team at 3-4, and 2 teams at 2-4. Lafayette's probably cooked, but it's still up for grabs. Holy Cross got to win; they're at 2-4. Like Holy Cross ain't out of it. It's going to be a crazy mad dash to the finish there. It's a one bid league. I mean, the last couple years we kind of had the Army conversation. There's no conversation this year. It's one bid up for grabs for all those teams.
All right, we'll go around the scoreboard. Mercer wins a thriller against Bellarmine 18-17. Our good buddy Chris was on the call today. Did you see his video of the national anthem being played by a guy on a guitar? Electric stuff there in Macon.
I did see that.
Some are saying that it's the biggest thing to happen in sports in Georgia this weekend. Who needs Augusta when you got guys shredding the national anthem?
All right, there we go. So Brian Powell says, if Loyola beats Army next week, they clinch the top spot in the Patriot League. Because they beat BU. So Navy Lehigh is
your pressure point game.
Yeah, I mean Lehigh is at 2-4. Yeah, because if Lehigh beats Navy, they will have the tiebreaker over them at 3-4. But then you have Bucknell at 3-4, and Holy Cross could be 3-4, and go out there.
All right. Elsewhere, we got Towson 21-5 over Hampton. UMBC 14-8 over Binghamton. Utah wins a thriller 9-8 over Jacksonville. They came back to win that one. Speaking of top 5 teams people have forgotten about, Richmond 23-7 over St. Bonaventure. Holy Cross with a 13-12 win over Fairfield. Another comeback win there. Air Force beats Queens 17-7. Stony Brook goes on a big run in the second half to pull away with a 17-10 win over Monmouth on the Jersey Shore. Merrimack beats Canisius 13-9. Georgetown 17-7 win over Marquette in Big East play. Siena continues their great season with a 15-11 win over Sacred Heart. Big game in the Capital Region Derby midweek. Keep your eyes peeled. Siena Albany. They're going to be doing a lot of great things in memory of Liam Gleason that game as well. So going to be a very emotional game between Siena and Albany, but going to be a very fun game to watch as well midweek. So check that out on Tuesday night. Loyola, as we said, beat Lafayette 16-7. Drexel with a 17-8 win over Hofstra. Robert Morris with a first half shutout and end up winning 18-5 over Mercyhurst in the I-79 Derby. High Point 15-8 win over Hobart. Wagner with an 8-7 win over Lemoyne in overtime. Let me make sure that's right. I could have sworn I saw Lemoyne tweet something that they won that. Let me just double check that score. No, Wagner did win that 8-7. So Wagner, OT victory. I mentioned this earlier in the stream. Delaware with an 8-7 win over UMass. That is Delaware. Don't look now. They are on a 3-game winning streak after that horrific start to the season. Quinnipiac 14-8 over Mount St. Mary's. Denver 15-9 over St. John's. Providence with an overtime victory over Villanova 10-9. Another team that's hard to figure out with Villanova. Albany 12-9 win over Vermont, aided by a 7-goal second quarter. Bryant beats Iona 17-6. Marist a 13-9 victory over Manhattan. Detroit Mercy come out with a comeback win 10-8 over Cleveland State. And game about to go final in Newark. America's team, the NJIT Highlanders, up 10-8 over UMass Lowell with about 16 seconds left.
Should we put up the RPI?
Yeah, let's put up the RPI.
All right. Let me share my screen. All right. North Carolina has this actually... Hang on. I want to make sure this is
updated at 9:30.
So it says it's updated, but it still has Carolina with 1 loss, even though they have 2 now. So maybe that's just like a glitch there, because Notre Dame is up to 2. So I'm assuming Carolina did have a big advantage in RPI. So
yeah, remember we were talking about that they had like a full decimal point.
Yeah, it was pretty substantial. So Carolina 1, Notre Dame 2. Q's is up to 3, Princeton 4, Richmond 5. Hopkins stays at 6, even with the loss. Harvard's at 7 now. The thing to watch for Harvard is you'll notice this 0.57, 0.58 in the second and third quotients is 18th and 9th. Not bad, but what's really holding them up still is their win percentage. If they start losing, Marcy doesn't think this is. I mean, parts of it are updated because, like, Maryland's at 6-4 here. So I don't know. Maybe it's not fully updated. Like Maryland's up to 9th. Rutgers is down at 20th. I think it's updated. Well, yeah, and UNC's RPI was at like 0.7. So I think it's updated. I just don't know if all the records are in there. Penn State's down at 13 after their loss. They're now 6-5. As you can see, 1 top 5 win, 2 top 10 wins, additionally 2 top 20, and 3 of these guys. There's in the top 20, there are 9 bad losses. Penn State has 3 of them. It's nuts. Cornell up to 10. Georgetown's at 11. Gil has mentioned Georgetown is just having the most quintessential Georgetown season. They're going to be a pain in the ass wherever they play in round 1. They'll probably win, go to the quarterfinals, play Notre Dame in the quarterfinals. Virginia at 8, still even after the loss. Duke stays at 16, but ain't beating anybody, and 16 is not exactly a great spot to be in. The kind of fringe line right now is Towson at 19, Rutgers at 20, Loyola's at 21, which would help Hopkins and Maryland in particular. Rutgers falling out of the top 20 would not be so great for Hopkins. Penn is at 18, under 500 now. Penn actually kind of teetering a little bit. So Not substantial changes, really, but still plenty of opportunity for movement in the next couple of weeks before we hit the conference tournaments.
All right, so that about do it. One other game this weekend, VMI LIU tomorrow at 11 at LIU. They got to clean up everything from today's festivities. But glad you guys could join us. As always, smash that like button. Share it with your friends. Hit the subscribe button. Notification bell. Cornell does play on Monday against High Point. Also, in addition to that aforementioned Capital Region Derby with Siena and Albany, you got Yale Hofstra on the island on Tuesday. And then there's a couple Friday night games in the Big Ten coming up. Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State Rutgers, both Friday night.
Good stuff. Smash that like button. Subscribe. Yeah, tell your friends. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Great house tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Join us earlier next week, and then probably earlier the next 2 weeks, and then we'll probably do a Friday night live show during the conference tournament. We've done the past couple of years, so always gets a good group out there. So we'll look forward to that, and then 4 more Saturdays until Selection Sunday. 4 more Sundays until Selection Sunday, I should say. 3 more Saturdays.
Yeah, 3 more Saturdays. Yeah, I'm just thinking of that. Yeah, 4 more Sundays until Selection Sunday. All right, and as always, you can also follow us on Twitter at college_cross, as well as on Instagram at the Cross Commission as well.
I will be.
You'll be at.
Yeah, it's gonna be the big house next weekend. We had. I don't think it's gonna get 15,000 Army. What was the crowd at QCUVA today?
QCUVA, I believe, was
89-28.
Yeah, I believe it's in the 8,000s. What did you say, Safe?
I think it was right there, 89-28 or something. It's just under.
Safe, you have this. What's the biggest crowd? What's the biggest Homewood crowds ever?
I think there was a couple 10K plus. They had to have a little, but I think we did like a bowl breakdown because the historic game was only like 7,300 the 2022 game. But the other game
the last one
that was like 8,500. I felt.
No,
plus.
that was over 10,000. That was over 10,000. That was the 3rd biggest crowd at the history of Homewood.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. If IL is to be, actually no, they don't have it on IL yet. Let me look on the Q's website. Just for the official word, but I believe, yeah, what this number Safe said, it sounds about right.
Yeah, the Maryland Hopkins game 3 years ago was like 10,300.
Oh, forgive me. I mean, right, because seat size 8,500, but they added the area, so I was like, yeah, that's definitely.
They are selling on-field seats for Hopkins, Maryland, which I don't know that they've ever done. Safe, I don't know what they mean by that.
They had those seats. Remember the one, the little bleacher
Safe,
type stuff on the other side of the fence?
Safe was right on the money. 89-24.
Oh yeah, it was a great crowd. It was a big pop. But yeah, do you remember when we were talking, Jake, when we met right the Q's game, just by the entrance of seats there? So I have seen those. I haven't seen it. Are they doing it all the way around? Because that was just on the away side.
They're selling if you go to tickets, because I bought mine. If you go to tickets for the Maryland game, let me just buy tickets. I'm not going to, but general admission $26.85. It's higher than it normally is.
Yes, it is.
Reserved seating $32. Field seats $42.30. They have actual field seats.
It's homecoming weekend, so yeah, I need to see 11,000.
Okay, hang on now. Where is? Yeah, they have. I'm guessing it's on the. Let me pull up the. Let me share my screen.
I'm going to send you guys a link. I don't know how old this is, but this has the attendance records.
Here you go. So you see, this is really
Yeah.
small, but you guys see this like blue, like these right here, this like dark blue, like on the grass. These are what they're calling field seats.
Yeah, those are the ones we saw, but they only had like one or two set of those bleacher type chairs.
Wow,
But,
it's only $10 more than the get-in price to go to see Cornell Duke today.
I just sent you guys the link to
now
the
you'll
record.
know why I feel the way I do.
So I sent you guys the link to the record book. Yeah, Jake, the one we went to 2024, second most. There was a 10,723 people attended the Cuse game, Ryan 91. 04, another 10,000.
100th anniversary game.
Yep. 2018, another 10,000. So Cuse or Maryland are six. The top 6 or 7 actually are Cuse, Maryland. 5 of them are Maryland games. The other 2 are Cuse games. Maryland's just underneath. So it's like 4 Maryland games are 10,000 or above, with 2 Cuse games are 10,000 above.
I'm calling it 10,500.
Oh yeah, especially with those seats there.
Put
Yeah,
it-
I can.
Put it down at least.
Our game, Jake, of course. What's the final number there?
No
2020.
cowbells.
10,458.
Yeah, right on the edge. It's the last one of the records. 7,065 people. And 2 souls saw history that day. That's for sure.
Yeah, should be a great one.
All right. So we'll see you guys around. Thanks as always for joining us one last time. Hit the like button. Share it with your friends. You could always replay it, rewatch it. We get a lot of views on replay as well, so we appreciate all that. Appreciate you guys subscribing to the Cross Commission podcast, following along on Twitter at college_cross. Again, Instagram at the Cross Commission, where Jake will be giving us some content next week at Homewood. So thanks you all for listening and watching, and we'll see you again. Another exciting week in the books and a lot more excitement to come.
Stay hydrated. Like lunch president.